Hello, my name is Jim Crash Irons, local 80 grip here in Hollywood, California, and creator, co-producer, and host of That's a Wrap. I've worked on such movies as From Dusk Till Dawn, Jackie Brown, Spawn, Peppermint, and such TV shows as 6 Feet Under, Malcolm in the Middle, Weeds, and Big Little Lies, just to name a few. The vast majority of interviews at the end of Blu-ray discs and DVDs are interviews with the actors, the directors, the producers, the above-the-line people, as we call them in the business, the people with money, with fame. That's a Wrap is about the below-the-line people, the rank-and-file folks, the crew members who are on the set day in and day out, 5 to 6 days a week, 12 to 16 hours a day, dressing actors, building sets, lighting and shooting those sets, helping to create the dreams that Hollywood is built on. These are the magicians upon whom the magic makers rely upon. These are the folks who make the movies and TV shows that the public loves to spend buku dollars on at the movie theater or stretch out on the couch and binge on. My crew and I believe that you want to know about these folks, these talented, hardworking, intelligent folks, the professionals who get the job done because, well, it needs to get done. My sisters and brothers in the film and TV industry get to have their stories told, finally, and we'll tell those stories here on That's a Wrap. Hi, welcome back. We are here with my good friend Luke McWilliams, who is in transportation, in film and TV. Thank you for being here. Appreciate
My pleasure.
it.
Thank you for having me.
It's good to be had, sometimes. Okay, so you are in transportation.
Yes, I am.
Loco 399.
Correct.
If I'm correct. Thank
Yes.
you. How long have you been driving?
I've
In
been
the film business.
I've been driving. I drove for like 2 years before getting into the union, basically 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your first job?
Well, I've worked as a PA for a long time. I started out in event production, and then moved on when I moved up here and was able to start working on television shows. And actually, 2 weeks after I moved to Los Angeles, I got a call from a buddy of mine, and he said, "Are you in town? Do you want to work?" I said yes and yes, and he said, "Okay, we're doing this little show for NBC downtown. You want to come?" And it was the job that I still work on today. It's the same television show for 10 years.
Which one is it?
It's The Voice on
Voice.
NBC, yes.
Oh, awesome. That's
Yeah.
terrific. Where did you move here from?
I lived in San Diego for 3.5 years,
Okay.
but I grew up in the northwest suburbs of Chicago.
Ah, Bears fan.
Indeed I am.
And we know this. I'm a
Yes.
Packers fan, so
Yes.
it's amazing we're sitting at the same goddamn table.
Right.
Isn't it, right? Did you go to film school at all for to do your not to do your job, but did you like film before as you got into it?
I was very, very heavily interested in film, and that's why I moved to California. My original plan was to establish residency here and then go to film school.
Okay.
And then I started getting little PA gigs here and there, and started meeting people that went to film school, and they all told me, "Don't do it. You're already where we are, so just unless you're going into something specific,
Right.
don't." They told me not to do it, and they're like, "You'll just end up spending a ton of money to be right where you are right now to start." So
Well, was that good advice, you think?
I mean, to a point. If I had wanted to, and I had thought about going into camera or one of the other more specific aspects of the film industry. I've had, I don't know, if I wanted to do that, yes, I would have. I should have gone to film school, but I love my job. I really, really do, and I kind of lucked into it.
Right.
But it works for me. So
Now, how long? And you said 10 years on the one show, but how long have you been in the business?
10 years.
About 10 years. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I didn't PA in television much before moving to Los Angeles.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you get into transportation?
I was working as a PA on The Voice, and we were in the transportation department. The show wasn't union yet, and at least transportation wasn't union yet. And so we were driving 15-passenger vans as PAs, just driving contestants around and everything. And there had always been rumors about them flipping the show over to union. And in season 3, we got that opportunity, and the top people on our roster got the chance to join, and had our our days prorated, and it was really, I've got very, very lucky. I've maintained my my job, my good standing with the union, because I am good at my job and I do work my ass off for it. So, but like I've been very, very lucky in this business for sure.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. So obviously you like it. You like driving.
Oh, yes.
It's
Yeah.
What do you? Because in transportation there are a lot of in the film business, TV. There's a lot of different vehicles. There are the big 40-footers. There's cube vans. There are vans that transport people, actors, and such. What is your main? Do you have a main vehicle that you drive?
I like to move around a lot, but
Are you qualified to drive?
I'm qualified to drive everything like up to tractor trailer, but I haven't been in a tractor trailer. I haven't been in anything with a manual transmission since trucking school 8-9 years ago. So I've kind of stuck to 5 tons and stake beds and the 15-passenger vans and sprinters and people movers, stuff like that.
Okay. And that's what do you do when you're on The Voice? Is that basically what you?
I move around between all of those vehicles. I like moving from department to department. I like having a relationship with every department on the show. It makes things more interesting for me, and
right.
It's just, I don't know, it's fun. It's fun getting to know everybody and being around everybody. It's pretty great.
That's nice. That's terrific. You are proud of your job.
I am.
You are a good driver.
Yes.
That's awesome. Where'd you go to? I try to be.
I try to be.
I don't know. You tell me. Where did you go to school for driving?
It was Debbie Dutzen School of Trucking.
No, I'm sorry, the what?
Debbie Dutzen School of Trucking.
Debbie Dutzen?
Yeah, I don't believe it exists anymore.
Where was it?
It was out in Arcadia.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't remember how many hours I put in there, but you know, it took me a little while to get my Class A license, and
About how long, roughly?
over 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's fairly extensive.
Yeah, it probably should have taken less time, but I wasn't, like, I was paying as I went along, and you know, I wasn't making that much money as a PA, so like it was just trying to you know, pay for lessons when I could pay for them, you know. So that's what took me a while. Was you know, I was putting it off because I just didn't have the money to pay for the school. So
it's not easy to buy something if you don't have any money.
Right, exactly.
Why specifically transportation? Why specifically driving?
Well, I mean, like I said, I just kind of lucked into that and fell into it, and I really enjoyed it. I've always really enjoyed being, like, I enjoyed driving my whole life, and so, since I was 15, 16, so, but yeah, I just enjoy it, and it wasn't part of the initial plan. Like, I wanted to, when I moved to Los Angeles, I wanted to find a job within the industry that would allow me to sustain a career, and then I wanted to do creative stuff on the side too, but I just, you know, that's on me to do, and I just haven't done enough of that. But yeah, I really do enjoy the driving.
That's awesome. Yeah. Do you feel like you make driving? You're not really seeing a lot of people, a lot of actors and whatnot and everything. But do you feel like you bring a difference?
Yes,
filmmaking.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you bring something to the table that nobody else would really. I mean, obviously there's a lot of bring different things, but you specifically feel yourself that me, Luke, I do.
Yes.
I bring something.
Absolutely. I think, and especially on our particular show, I've been with the show for as long as I have been, and so I know the show like the back of my hand. I know the people involved. I know exactly what to expect and what is needed when and where. They don't have to. I'm pretty autonomous when it comes to that. As far as like, okay, we need you to go do this and maybe pick up a couple of road cases from this spot, and they can send me off on my own for that, for smaller things like that. But we're teamsters. We're not allowed to actually carry a lot of the equipment and stuff because it's all
How so?
union rules and stuff. Yeah.
Copy. The union says you can do this, you can't do that.
Right. Like we're responsible for the load from the truck to the end of the gate, and after that, like, it's up to y'all grips and art department and whatever department I have.
So you're not. I mean, not to say you don't, but you're not technically supposed to touch anything aside from the vehicle.
Not to say that I don't. I absolutely do help out.
Because I found a lot of times,
I'm not an asshole.
Well, that's for us to. No, because a lot of the drivers, some drivers don't help, some drivers do. Some drivers get in the way when they're helping. Right. Some don't. Some really know their job, and it's nice to have somebody who knows what they're doing, who's willing in your position to do stuff like that for us, for the other people in the other departments and whatnot. It's nice. It's very nice. Obviously, transportation touches every department. We all need every department, grip, electric, camera, everybody. We all need you guys to transport us from one place to another. Does that ever get in the way? Does anybody ever get resentful?
Like, I don't think there's resentfulness if when it comes to that. No one goes anywhere without transport.
Right.
We move all the equipment. We move people. We make sure nothing ends up in a location without us getting it there.
Right.
And I mean that includes getting actors to location too. It includes sometimes it includes shuttling people to lunch, but it's every department does need transpo at one point or another during a production.
Right. The hours have to be crazy.
They are.
I mean, you guys. It seems like you guys, because you're driving everyone around, all the equipment and whatnot. You guys have to be there first, and you're probably the last ones to leave a location or a stage or a set because
most likely. In most cases, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has that ever messed with your personal life, having to work all those hours?
I move my personal life around based on my job instead of the other way around, even though I do have, you'll work a lot of hours during a certain stretch and then maybe have like 5 or 6 days off in a row or sometimes longer. You have to understand that you can't make plans to be someplace no matter what kind of day you think it's going to be. And even on this show, I've worked for The Voice for 10 years, and there are still things that I walk into a day going, oh, this is what's going on today. We'll be off by 2. This is gonna be great. And then 9 o'clock, I'm still sitting there with the truck and like, okay, I know they didn't forget about me, but we're not doing anything right now. I screwed myself by thinking that earlier.
What is kind of a typical day for you when you come in, when you first come in the morning until you go home at night? What are your goals?
I mean, it depends on what I'm driving, but typically, say I'm driving a 5-ton or basically any truck, any vehicle really. I get there a half an hour before I get to pick up my truck, which is usually about a half an hour before crew call is.
Okay.
And then I walk around, make sure everything looks safe with the truck or the van or whatever, and then make sure my boss knows I've showed up to work, and then I get to location and make contact with whoever the head of the department is that I'm working for, and then await on their instructions on do I need to go do a pickup, am I sitting or are we just waiting to load? It all depends on the day and the vehicle that I'm driving to. So,
right. Do you have a favorite vehicle to drive? Stake bed or a crew van or?
I like the variety of being able to mix it up.
Right.
And I mean, there was a time where 5 tons were driving a van it just seemed so much easier and safer. But now, even though you're hauling people, so there's more responsibility there.
Right.
But when it comes to, lately, I really love driving 5 tons, and I'm very happy that I feel great when I can put the 5 ton somewhere where that doesn't look big enough for a 5 ton. I like driving forklifts a lot too.
Right.
But that's a once in a while thing, because a day on a forklift, that's a long day in the sun if it's a hot day or whatever.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Have you ever worked on a show where the politics of the show itself kind of sort of clashed with yours, without having to get into specifics, you know, Democrat, Republican, or whatever.
Right,
blah, blah.
right.
But have you ever worked on a show that was like you're looking at it, you read the script, or you heard about it, and thought, oh, I don't know if I really like this particular story?
Not really. I mean, I worked on Celebrity Apprentice for a season in the year that Arnold Schwarzenegger was the host of it, like when Trump was running for president. And that, like, politics never really came into it at all, even though that was a pretty turbulent time in early 2016 with politics.
Right.
And I remember talking to people, talking politics there, and I won't talk politics at work anymore. It's just, it gets ugly.
Yeah.
But no, I've never, politics for me when it comes to a show really wouldn't come into it, because I'm enough removed from the creative content of the show that I'm just there doing my job.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Have you ever gushed at seeing a celebrity get into your vehicle and go, oh my gosh, there's so, like you know, you say you work with Schwarzenegger or something, you know, somebody like that. Oh my gosh, here's what do I do?
I drove, I think it was 6th season of The Voice. During our live shows, it was probably the finale. I drove Cher.
Oh,
and
nice.
her entourage, and that was just a cool experience.
Right.
Very, very cool, very fun, sweet, and she was nice.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to
talk a little? Just a little. Nothing. You know, more than small talk. But
right. Did she throw her hair?
Yeah. She did have bins of wigs that were in the back of my van. So,
oh, how funny!
Yeah.
That's
but
awesome.
she's really, really kind person to me. So
right.
Yeah. Right. There was a moment, and this is not me gushing, but I was able to get I was able to be a fly on the wall in a room once in the first season of The Voice. I was driving. The contestant was the great, beautiful, talented Beverly McClellan, and she was Christina Aguilera's contestant, and they were performing Beautiful at the live show that week, and we were at a recording studio where they record their iTunes covers and everything. But Linda Perry, who wrote the song, was there. And I was a fly on the wall for a conversation between Christina, Beverly, and Linda, where Christina and Beverly were trying to convince Linda to perform on stage with them at the live show. Because Linda, I don't know if she has stage fright, but she just didn't really perform on stage that much anymore since Four Non Blondes broke up and everything. But she's mainly a songwriter these days.
Right.
But yeah, I was a fly on the wall for that conversation. It was a very sweet conversation, and they wound up convincing her, and it was really cool. Like, I really loved being there for that.
Right. If you weren't driving in the business, is there another job in the business that you would like to be doing?
I would like to be on the creative side of things, but like I said, that's really all on me. I need to get up and do it, you know? That if
Luke, get off your ass.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I used to write every now and then, and, you know, never anything very significant, but, you know, and just
it's always time.
Like a lot of people do, but I haven't written anything in 5 years, so.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know, I think I'd like to write, really, yeah. Yeah.
Start now, baby.
Yeah, right.
That's
and
fun.
that, like I said, that's all on me. That I just need to get off my ass and do that.
Something to do. You know what? You're young. You got time.
True. Not that young.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything. So you do. You already kind of sort of answered this. You do feel lucky, and you were lucky in getting your job.
Very much so. Yes.
Yeah. So that's a good thing. It's a good doing what you do.
And I'm lucky that I work for the show that I do, because it's been long running. You know, we do 2 seasons a year. They employ me for 10 months out of the year, which is crazy for a television show, as you all know. And it's been great. I've been very, very lucky with that show, and everybody involved with it is very, very cool. It's a laid-back show for the most part, and you know, it's
awesome.
Still a lot of fun, but I'm very, very lucky to be there and be here.
Did you ever have early in your career, or before you started your career, was there ever, or did you find something in your life that inspired you to want to get into the film business? Did you see like a movie that you saw? Because I remember when I got in, I saw Star Wars.
Yeah.
And it's something like, oh my God, that's what I want to do. I want to make movies. So was there anything like that for you that you saw that's like, you know what, that looks fun. I want to do that.
I don't know, growing up, my dad was always had like a really cool movie taste, and I like he showed me a lot of different movies, some of which I probably shouldn't have been watching at a young age. But yeah, I've always been into movies. In high school, I would go to the local video store and rent like five videos, and then the next day I would basically go to school, go tell the nurse that I'm sick and I want to go home, and go home and watch 5 movies, knowing my parents were at work. And
right.
Yeah.
Hey, that's the way to do it, you know? How has this business affected you mentally? Have you ever had any problems with just the hours, the people? If you always just had a good outlook on what you do, what's going on around you, work-wise?
I'm a pretty laid-back person generally, and so there are days that are like filled with stuff that needs to get done, and that's like, and I deal with those fine, and I really like those days too. Like I want a little bit more added stress on certain days, because there are a lot of days where, as transpo, we have a lot of downtime. Like what we do when we're driving, it's very stressful because we're driving very giant vehicles that could do a lot of damage. Right. But when we're not driving, a lot of time we are sitting around, and that's a lot of the reputation of a Teamster as lazy or whatever. Or, right. All those Teamster jokes. I don't know. I like it when a day is packed with more stuff to do, and the time flies a little bit faster. And yeah. Right.
Do you have a favorite movie or TV show that you've worked on?
That I've worked on?
Yeah. Good memories from it, or they paid you really well?
You know, very oddly, and I love working for The Voice. I've said that a few times already, so
no,
don't really need to say that. But
that's great.
I'm not a gun person. I'm not a fan of guns at all, overall. But I worked on season 4 of Top Shot, which as a PA. And what a blast that was to work on.
Really?
And even though I wasn't getting paid anything, like I was making like $125 a day. We were always there. It was always a 12-hour day. It was in Agua Dulce, so I had a long commute, and I was spending half of my paycheck on gas every week. Right. So, but it was such a cool group of people. It was a fun show to work for. Like, they worked with a couple of cool cameras that did some slow motion effects that were really rad, and nice. It was cool being around those guns in a controlled environment with professionals shooting them. Right. That was a lot of fun working on that show.
How long did you work on that for?
It was just the one season, and probably just a couple of months shooting in Agua Dulce in late summer.
Ooh, nice and hot.
Oh, it was hot, and then really windy in the afternoons. As PAs, we called ourselves human sandbags because we were holding down the tents, like just holding from the rungs. But yeah, I had a lot of fun working on that show. And that was before getting in Teamsters. And I was actually deciding whether or not to become a Teamster at that time, because we were getting the opportunity, and I didn't know whether or not it was a good idea. Yeah. And looking back on it, it was a very, very good idea.
There you go.
But yeah, that was
good decision.
Yeah, that was the timing of that. But that was a fun show to work for sure.
What was your worst experience on a show?
It had nothing to do with the show, but the truck I was driving on, I did this just little 3-day stint on a show a couple years ago, and they gave me this old like stake bed with a fifth wheel, because it had to have been like the last one in town. That
explain that? I'm sorry. What's a fifth wheel?
Fifth wheel, you can attach trailers to the back bed of the stake bed.
Okay.
But we didn't need that. They just needed a stake bed that was long enough to haul like 20-foot pieces of lumber. I was working with the construction crew on this particular show.
Okay.
But like it must have been the last truck in town because it was really shaky. Whenever it would downshift, it's an automatic transmission, not manual, yeah. And when it was downshifting itself, the RPMs would go way up and it would like jerk back. It was just, something was messed up with the transmission. It was just a pain in the ass truck to drive.
Yeah.
And the hours of that one were very just weird, 4:30 in the morning to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Like it was just, it was
odd hours.
Yeah, it was an odd hours and a terrible truck. And so that was probably my worst experience. And it had nothing to do with the show itself or the people I was working with. It was just the vehicle. Yeah.
Did you have to drive that one like all the time? That was
That was my truck. For 3 days. And luckily I was going back to The Voice at the end of that week or the beginning of the next week. They actually expected me to stick around longer, even though they never told me that it was going to be a longer shoot. I just figured I was day playing.
Right.
And so they were a little disappointed when I told them that, I'm back to The Voice on Monday. But I was not disappointed. I got off that truck and was happy I didn't have to drive that for another 4 weeks or whatever.
Right. Driving all those hours and whatnot, and you guys do long hours. Have you ever had a bad experience driving home, like maybe nodding off or? Because it happens.
Yeah.
It happens to everybody, but you guys especially, being drivers.
Right. A little bit early on, before I learned how to manage my sleep schedule in a better, more responsible way, it gets scary when you're working long hours and you need to get that sleep in somehow, somewhere, and some time. But on the ride home is not the time for that to kick in, So usually, I find ways to keep myself awake on those rides and
keep the window open.
Little tricks, yeah.
Crank the radio.
Yeah, when I was smoking cigarettes, and that was not a healthy way to do it. But you can hold your breath. That's a trick. Like
really,
it really does. It helps you stay awake.
Driving along, just hold your breath.
Hold your breath for a while. Not long enough to pass out. That's the opposite effect. But no, that's a trick to help you kind of kick back into alertness.
That's a trick. I've never heard that. That's interesting. If you had a movie made about you, who would you want to play you?
Oh man!
Don't say Cher, because you need the hair. You have to grab one of her wigs.
Right. Oh, I don't know. Zach Galifianakis.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I don't know. I don't know. What would work for me? You know me.
Yeah, but I like it. I think that would be a good call. That would be a good call. Our guest has been Luke McWilliams, Transportation, 399, local, great people. Never piss them off, because then your truck will be parked way down the street instead of close to the set where you want to be. And then you have to carry all the goddamn equipment. Don't want to do that.
I'm not going to say that doesn't happen. So, yes, keep us happy.
All right, let's give it up. Luke, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
And we will see you out on set somewhere.
Yep, absolutely.
Cool. Thanks a lot. Hi, Jim Crash Irons here. I'd just like to give a quick shout out to John Fregoso and the owner of the Snake Pit, and all the hard-working workers who work here for allowing us to use their beautiful whiskey bar and restaurant. Thank you, Crystal and Noah and everyone else. You guys are fantastic. If you guys ever get a chance to come down to Melrose and hang out at Snake Pit, I suggest it. Great food, good drinks, good people. Again, thank you guys very much. Thank you, Snake Pit.